I don't want to get her involved in this. I don't want to ruin her life. Like it's something like this. I don't want her involved in this. Okay.
Oh, the missing persons report.
Yeah, and I totally can go with that.
That's all it is, the truth. So there's nothing to hide in that coroner's report. There's nothing to hide by not having Callie take a polygraph. And if the truth comes out, and this was assumed.
How do you deal with it? I had to sneak the other day when I was with Josie. I had to sneak and talk to him. I had to sneak and talk to him about his sister.
Well, makes me think the worst. Like, did you do that to all three of them?
Hi, thanks for being here. Hi, everybody. Hi, BLN. I'm actually going to give you a mod wrench, if that's okay, BLN, just in case CDT isn't in chat or another mod isn't in chat. I've got one now. Okay, and Ambi's here too. Okay, well, hello. Thanks for being here. This is part 3. We've already gone through quite a bit. A lot of stuff we're catching. The audio is very crisp and sharp because we've enhanced it the best we could. And it's just, you can really hear the breath they're taking and just very clear. So it's been really good going through these. So if you haven't checked out part 1 and 2, please do. Glad you're here. Even if you're just hopping in tonight without listening to these other ones, it's all good. Like it's nothing that you're gonna miss, but you should definitely go back and listen because we've picked up on Chris mentioning the word "we" when he's referring to the night of the murder, insinuating more than just him, and he's also slipped up and said "they." Another thing that we caught on was he said something about not waking her when he got up, and then it turned into he did wake her, or vice versa. Just go back and look. But hi, Paul T and Kelly Searches. Hello, Tanya. Thank you for being here. I'm glad you're a new sub. I really appreciate everyone being here. So I guess we should just get right into it because we've only gone to pretty much an hour. Believe it or not, guys. And it's 4 hours and 41 minutes.
A normal day's work type thing.
Yeah. So let me just rewind a little bit. And then we'll just listen. And obviously I'll pause it and we can chat. And I'll pause it and pull up comments when I see them.
Take the kids somewhere else or lock you out of the house or
just I wouldn't want to make a scene try and pound on the door trying to get in or anything like that. But, I just felt like that was what I did on Sunday. It was kind of or Saturday night was kind of like the last straw. Kind of like going out with somebody and using an actual bank account card and just not trying to hide it at all.
So walk me through it though, because she comes home, she touches you, you guys have sex, you fall asleep, then you wake up for work, all natural, all a normal day's work type thing.
Yeah.
What was it that made you think, I just can't do this anymore, I have to talk to her?
It was eating away at me. I knew something. I knew everything that I did. I know when I was with Nikki, it was different. I wasn't even in the realm of I'm a dad, I'm a husband type thing.
Oh.
And then like I was saying, when I'm never at home, sleeping in my own bed, and I have no concept of that anymore.
Interesting. So in your mind and heart, you can have moved on.
It kind of felt like if I wasn't at home.
Okay, yeah. I'm just reading through chat, and Paul T, I noticed that was interesting too. I think we heard a little bit of this on the last one, but now, that you mention it and I'm kind of thinking about it again. He said he didn't want to make a scene, whenever he had to tell Shanann about something, you know what I mean? He'd rather, in case he got locked out of the house, etc. But it almost, okay, if you're looking at this from the perspective of other people being there, specifically NK, because in the first or second live stream we did on this, Chris said something about everything we were saying and everything she was saying, she referring to Shanann, and we never got clarification what he meant by that. So now he's saying didn't want to make a scene about things, so it's like, how would it have made a scene? And I guess you could argue, well, he means like in case Shanann locked him out and neighbors were watching. But it almost is like, does he mean because other people, NK was there in this confrontation? Like, it just makes me wonder. Is that sort of like what you're thinking about it, Paul T? Or what do you think is weird by that? Yeah. Oh, no. Dave, that happened when I was trying to rejoin on CDTs. Does it work if you are on my homepage and you just click on join? Because I think is it just a description one that just, for me, it doesn't say error, it just brings me to my homepage. But I think if you join, or if you're looking to join the membership right now, until I fix it, like in my description box, everyone, just go to the homepage and then just click join, which I believe you can only do, like, you can't do it through Apple iPhone. But hi, CDT. Yeah, they are frustrating. And I need to just, I think I have it on my about section too. Hi, Brooks Richards and EE Caroline.
I didn't think about it almost, because like if I wasn't sleeping on my own, like I think there was at one point like Nikki had gone to the mountains with her friends for like a few days, like into June, first part of July, and then like that part, obviously I was at home, but like from that whole month of July on, it was like I was never at home. Like I never had all those reminders. I never had, like every time my wife would call me, I would be at Nikki's house.
Oh, while she was in North Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would walk outside and talk to her when I was next to the car or something like that.
Yeah, Tony said, sounds like others were there. He didn't want to make a scene in front of other people. It does sort of seem that way, re-listening to it. And Paul T is saying, yes, Tony. Thank you for becoming a member again, Seeking the Truth with Dave. Love going through this case, excuse me, with people who have studied it really closely. So I'm glad you guys are all here. Yeah, oh geez, the likes are coming in strong, Brooks Richards says. That's when he's lying, I feel, in my opinion.
I would never be at home looking like, have all these pictures around me, just being in the same bed, seeing my kids in bed, seeing everything that, that we know for the last 6 years.
And so, did you just want to once and for all get it out in the open?
I just wanted to just tell her how I was feeling at that point in time. Like I didn't feel like me and her were compatible anymore. Honestly, I didn't feel like that because what was going on with Nikki, it was new. It was new.
Right, absolutely.
Anything that's new always feels better than the old.
Yes.
You were probably bitten by the love bug.
Yeah,
that's how a lot of therapists talk about it. Yeah.
It was just like, I never felt that. I mean, even like with new relationships in the past, like it always felt different, like, the first couple weeks and then, but it just, with someone Nikki felt different. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just like you said, like, I was more in control and like, it was more of like, maybe more of me coming out. Because Shanann always said, like, it always seemed I was more myself around other people, like, her cousin Cody, like, Cody lived or came up and visited us for a little bit while we were in Colorado for a little while, and Cody always talked about, like, how Chris is so funny, and Chris is like, Shanann would always like, why are you never like that with me? I'm just like, maybe I always felt nervous around you.
There's only so much oxygen in the room, right? I say this to some people when dominant personalities,
I just always felt nervous. I always felt like I was, I never could actually just, be myself.
Right.
Nikki, I was myself like all the time. It was just different.
Well, and it seems as though, and again, it's hard to talk about, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but it also seems, is it accurate to say that sexually you were able to say, Nikki, this is what I would like, this is what I'm into, or blah, 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 and maybe not what Shanann?
No, Nikki just wanted, she wanted what she wanted. She wanted to do it pretty much all the time. I was just like, okay, that's fine with me.
Okay.
With Shanann, it was just like, hey. Sometimes it happened, sometimes it didn't. But that wasn't the case as far as that way. It wasn't just like sex or whatnot. But it was me. I would just want myself. I could just not think about what I was going to say or plan what I was going to say or not, say something stupid or something.
Right.
A little bit of freedom.
Can I ask you something about that morning that you had sex with Shanann? Did you feel at all like maybe you were kind of cheating on Nikki by doing that?
I felt strange. I felt like, the first time I was with Nikki, I felt weird. First time,
Sure.
And then the last time I was with Shanann, I felt totally strange. I was just like, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I had become. I felt like I become people I see on TV, and that did not feel right with me. Like I didn't know what had happened to me. Mm-hmm. So Nikki even asked me, like, have you done this before? Have you go straight away? I'm like, I've never even thought about it. It's like, what's different? It's like, I guess it's just you that's different, because I've just never actually, like, I've seen girls smile at me before, never done anything about it. With her, it was just like, it's like she had a leash on me and she tugged me away. As soon as she walked, I'm like, heck, what's going on? So.
Well, and Tammy brings up a very good point. I wonder if that last time with Shanann having sex had somewhat of a role in you thinking.
Okay, so I where do I start? First off, thank you to everyone who's just joined. And hi, Amanda, Vita, Mel Mac, me, Jamie, Kay, Danielle. Thanks for being here, everyone. I liked where Chris was going a little bit. It seemed like he was opening up a little bit or being a little more, he was holding back still, of course, but I just feel like it was headed in a direction where they could have pried more. He just literally said that it was like NK had him by a leash, that perfect opportunity to say like, well, what do you mean by that? Or did she really? Wow. Like, that's quite the statement. Like, can you elaborate? Or, like it would have been the perfect opportunity to kind of like dig in more about NK. Like he just said that he spent all this time at her apartment and, forgot pretty much that he was even a husband and a father and, a lot of heavy stuff. And here we are, like Coder, I had the opportunity to pry a little bit after saying he said that leash comment, and he wants to go back to the morning of, and their conversation that they're having. And I obviously know they want to get more stuff like about the scene of the crime. But this is just like frustrating because it's like they pretty much just changed the subject purposely. Like it was laying right there for them to say more about like NK having him by a leash and tugging him, blah, 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 but now we have to go back to the whole, they already know that he's lying about that morning, so why not just gather the information while he's here, like on the topic of the mistress, and then like go back to the scene of the crime and realize like, okay, yeah, he's still feeding us the same BS story. It's like instead of prying about the mistress here, they go back to where he was lying already and they know that he's not telling the truth about it. CDT said, Tammy changes the direction of this conversation way too much. Yeah. And even Coder here, it's like, come on, dude.
Like a trigger?
I gotta do something, I gotta say something, we gotta have a talk, something's gotta change. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I felt like it was like maybe like a trigger point or something, like you hit the push button on a bomb and it just blows up.
Right.
Just something in my head was just like something, something was hurting. Just like I had to say something.
Okay. So then exactly what did you say and what happened?
So when I woke her up, and it's like, hey, we just gotta talk. And I just like I told her, I don't feel compatible. I don't feel like this is gonna work. I just, I don't want to. Like, can we cancel the trip to Aspen? And she had booked a trip that week to go to some like mystery 4-star luxury hotel or something.
Just the two of you, or the whole family?
Just me and her.
Okay.
And she had Amanda Fair, couldn't watch the kids that weekend or something.
Okay.
And I was just like, can we cancel that? Can we like do something like?
Yeah, CDT. He said a trigger and then blow it up. Yeah. I put that in my explosion video. All the little which, doesn't have this sharp quality because I made it years ago at this point. But you can hear it so clear here that he really did say he's comparing that morning to like a trigger that just blew up about their conversation. Hold on, let me rewind it a little bit because BLN said, is that what he said? Yeah. And like I said, if you can stand the kind of hazy quality that it is, my explosion video has this clip. Hang on.
Cheating on Nikki by doing that?
I felt strange. I felt like, the first time I was with Nikki, I felt weird. First time,
Sure.
And then the last time I was with Shannon, I felt totally strange. I was like, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I had become. I felt like I become people I see on TV, and that did not feel right with me. Like I didn't know what had happened to me. So Nikki even asked me like, have you done this before? Have you go straight away? I'm like, I've never even thought about it. It's like, what's different? It's like, I guess it's just you that's different because I've just never actually like I've seen girls smile at me before, never done anything about it. With her, it was just like, it's like she had the leash on me and she tugged me away. As soon as she walked, I'm like, heck, what's going on? So.
Well, and Tammy brings up a very good point. I wonder if that last time with Shanann having sex had somewhat of a role in you thinking,
like a trigger?
I gotta do something, I gotta say something, we gotta have a talk, something's gotta change. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I felt like it was like maybe like a trigger point or something like you hit the push button on a bomb and it just blows up.
So he's comparing that argument that morning with Shanann to like a push button on a bomb that just blows up. Okay. And we know how literal Chris is, in my opinion. I think he says things how they are, but he says it in a very confusing way, or you wonder like, well, what does he mean by that? But it's like obvious what he means by it. And this is a perfect example of that. Like, I will always lean towards this case having some sort of element with the oil company and explosion. And I think that Chris has always been giving subtle hints about that and has dropped little breadcrumbs about the truth. Like he said over and over, if somebody took Shanann, they took her out the back. He continuously said out the back. He continuously told the cops that he had he left his garage door open. Like he got the alert after he left for work. And when he came home, it was shut. Like there's all these little things that he's said where he's like, you know that he's reaching out, but he doesn't have the guts to pretty much say what it is, like for whatever reason. And we all know that he's still lying. So for whatever reason, he just gives hints within his lies. Absolutely, BLN. That's a perfect way to explain it. Hi, Pink Dahlia. No worries. We're kind of just starting. Thank you, Seeking the Truth with Dave. He said, no way in the world he had sex with Shanann. I know. I'd been thinking that. And then, Dave, when we re-listened the other day, I'm like, it almost sounded like he was being truthful about that. And like, if they did, I feel it's because she made advances towards him. And instead of having a conflict, he just gave in. Because, he's very passive. But again, for the longest time, I'd always felt they didn't. And that was the excuse that he gave, so that people would think, that they were alone in the house, because if NK was in the house, no way that they would be having sex. But continuing on. Yeah, Brooks was also thinking that he sounded truthful when he was talking about that aspect. I think that was in the second live stream or the first. Amanda said, I definitely think they did. His quote, well, that was too genuine for him to make up. I feel like, and other people are saying they believe they had sex. Yeah, it's just, it was maybe to avoid conflict or something and just appease her at that moment. I don't know. We'll probably never know. As frustrating as that is.
Right.
Just something in my head was just like the sun was irking. Just like I had to say something.
Okay. So then exactly what did you say and what happened?
And even if they were in the basement, hiding out, they could definitely have still had sex upstairs, and NK and whoever was hiding there would never have known. So possibly he is being truthful.
So when I woke her up, and just like, hey, we just gotta talk.
Okay.
And I told her, I don't feel compatible. I don't feel like this is gonna work. I just, I don't want to. Can we cancel the trip to Aspen?
Now, this whole conversation, I don't think took place. I think this conversation took place before she went to Arizona, but then they had sort of a makeup session, and then I don't know. I just don't believe that this heated argument happened that morning. Which is another reason why I almost think like maybe they did have sex, because everything was fine and then she got ambushed and it was like blindsided her. You know what I mean?
Booked a trip that week to go to some like mystery 4-star luxury hotel or something.
Just the two of you or the whole family?
Just me and her.
Okay.
And she had Amanda there, couldn't watch the kids that weekend or something.
Okay.
And I was just like, can we cancel that? Can we like do something? Like, from what I remember, I even said, can we move to Brighton just to get away from like this house?
Oh.
But like, I'm not sure if that was like in the beginning or the end of part of the conversation or whatnot. That conversation was so many different ways. Like they had gone from like staying together to not staying together to just like all of the above.
Okay. So this is half an hour, what?
Definitely not more than half an hour. I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think.
Are you crying? Is she crying?
Yeah, it's back and forth. It's like, she's got, mascara. She didn't wash her face when she got home. She had makeup on still, so mascara is running all over her and stuff like that. And yeah, it was nothing about that conversation. I just wish I could take all of it back. Just to be.
Mascara was running all over her and stuff like that. What does "and stuff like that" mean?
Just the whole Nikki thing, back everything. But
So then when did it turn?
as far as that conversation, just at the end when I was telling her, like, I told her I didn't love her anymore. That's when it happened.
What happened?
She told me to get off her, and then I put my hands on her.
Okay.
Did you say she said something like that you were hurting the baby or something?
That was before that, because like when I was straddling her, it was kind of like around her waist type deal.
Why did you get on her like that?
I just when we got on the bed, that's just what I got on.
Is that so she would listen to you?
And that was a thing that CDT caught last time. I rewound a little bit too far, but yeah, she heard. Did you hear him say when we got on the bed? Another example of and we kind of go over it more in our last live stream.
I felt like she could probably listen to me just laying beside her, but I got on top of her. Mm-hmm. And every time I think about it, I'm just like, did I know I was going to do that before I got on top of her? I don't know.
Really? That's an interesting thought, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if you knew.
just like the whole everything that happened that morning. I don't know, like I try to go back in my head. I'm just like, I didn't want to do this, but I did it. And everything just kind of like
Felt like you had to?
it just felt like it was.
Here we go, Tammy. Speaking for him, felt like you had to. Like, just let him talk. Hi, Deco. Thank you, Pointer Lover. I really appreciate that. NK was definitely involved, in my opinion. Me too. And it could even be as something as small as, you know, accessory after the fact or something. You know, I'm not saying I know her exact involvement, but yeah. Hi, Kristen Parker. I'm glad you're here. Thank you so much for joining.
I don't even want to say it felt like I had to. I just felt like there was already something in my mind that was implanted that I was going to do it, and I woke up that morning, it was going to happen, and I had no control of it.
You never thought about it before?
It was just like, I don't want, like when, like just like in the sentencing hearing, that prosecutor said it takes 2 to 4 minutes for something like that to happen. Like, why couldn't I just let go? I didn't.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, I just let
Was
go.
it feeling like it was in motion and you just couldn't stop it?
Yeah, it was just like, I don't even want to know what she saw when she looked back at me, honestly.
Did you look at her? What was she doing?
She wasn't fighting.
Why do you think she wasn't fighting?
I don't know, maybe she was praying, maybe she was just. Now I read the Bible. It said, or the scripture says, don't forgive these people, for they do not know what they do. Mm-hmm.
Here he goes, and everyone has heard this one where he says, this quote from the Bible, and it's the part of the Bible where Jesus is getting crucified, and Jesus is saying, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." Why is Chris using this example and saying they? And you hear, I don't know which one it is. It's either Baumhofer or Coder, and he's just like, mm-hmm. And I'm sure it was almost like, oh, wow, here how can they not hear all these? They're right there in person. They hear them. So it's just, they hear everything, guys. They know that there's other people. They're not stupid, but they think we are.
It's like, she's got, mascara. She didn't wash her face when she got home. She had makeup on.
And, did that happen with Bella right in that room?
I saw my life just disappearing before my eyes, but I couldn't let go. It was like somebody else, didn't.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, I just let
Was
go.
it feeling like it was in motion and you just couldn't stop it?
Yeah, it was just like, I don't even want to know what she saw when she looked back at me, honestly.
Did you look at her? What was she doing?
She wasn't fighting.
Now, when he says, I don't want to know what she saw when she looked back at me. Now, if you're thinking about other people being involved and he's kind of describing the scene, and of course he's lying, we don't know when he's lying, but he's either lying or he's being literal, or he's, talking in riddles and Bible scripture. But I don't want to know what she saw when she looked back at me. Imagine if he's leaving to go to work. He loads his truck. We know that. He leaves for work. He backs his truck in the driveway, so we know that Chris is outside the house that morning. We don't know when she was attacked. Could it have been so literal, and he's leaving the house and leaving the room or the basement or wherever this took place, and he's saying, I don't want to know what she thought when she looked back at me, because he's not helping. You know what I mean? And Tammy says, did you look at her? And he said, yeah, or he must have said yes, but we don't hear it. He's nodding his head or something. And she said, what did she see or something? Or what was she doing? And he said, not fighting. So if she was sedated, in my opinion, something put her, she was incapacitated, but I don't believe she died in the house. I think she was taken against her will out of the house in some way, shape, or form, sedation or by gunpoint. But anyways, so he's literally saying, she looked back at me. I don't want to know what she thought or what she saw, and he's saying she wasn't fighting. So was she, like, did he watch all this happen? Hi, House Huddle. Thanks for being here. So that's like just listening to this again. It's like, was there a scene taking place, like home invasion? She gets abducted and he's saying, I don't want to know what she thought when she looked back at me. It's like, she was like, probably, why aren't you helping me? Maybe. And then he just goes out, loads his truck, gets ready for work. And she's taken out the back.
Why do you think she wasn't fighting?
Maybe she was praying. Maybe she was just. I read the Bible. It said, or the scripture says, don't forgive these people, for they do not know what they do. Mm-hmm. Maybe she was saying that. I don't know what she was saying in her head, but she, like when you guys told me, like, take off your shirt and check for defensive wounds, and there wasn't going to be any. She didn't fight. I don't know why.
So she didn't grab. Could she grab your arms or?
See, when he said when you guys were looking for defensive wounds, I knew there weren't going to be any because she didn't fight. I don't know why. It's like the perfect example of just analyzing people's verbiage, and all he had to say was, you guys looked for defensive wounds, and I knew there wasn't going to be going to have any because she didn't fight. And he could have left it at that. Instead, he's got to follow it up with I don't know why. I don't know. I just think it's obviously a lie because he knows why she didn't fight back, but he's got to try to oversell it. Like there weren't going to be any defensive wounds because she didn't fight back. And like, we've been talking about her not fighting back. We know that. And now he's got to say, but I don't know why. Just lying. And hi, Valerie. Thanks for being here. I saw you pop in.
Were her arms pinned down, or?
Not that I remember. I don't think so. I mean, I don't think like I moved to where my knees were around her arms or anything. But it was just kind of like when I got on top of her, we started talking. That was it. It's kind of like in my head, or like in the back of my head, that was gonna happen.
And you guys are understanding that this makes absolutely no sense. She's laying there. He can't remember if he put his knees up or not. Like, this is just not how it happened.
And just like at the end of the conversation, it was just like, that's what happened. I just wish I could have let go.
Did it seem like it was that long, 2 to 4 minutes? How long did it seem for you?
Almost kind of felt like it was longer almost, because it felt like time was standing still. It's kind of like I just saw my life just disappearing before my eyes, but I couldn't let go. It was like somebody else, like if you picture somebody else around you, holding your hands, holding you, keep you from not letting go.
And again, that sort of makes no sense. Like, it's sort of like people were holding your hands and you can't let go. It's like, come on, really? You could have let go. We know that's just, this whole thing just doesn't make sense, this whole sequence. So in my opinion, it's a lie. So if it didn't happen this way, then how did it happen? Like, we still don't know. This is 3 years later. We're going over this again. And we literally have not had any new interview with Chris, or anything. This is it. And I don't count Cato's book because that was also filled with lies. Yeah, so we're supposed to believe that this is how it went down.
At some point there was a statement about rage. Do you feel like you're in a rage at that point?
That's the only way I can describe it, honestly. Like a snap. I mean, I guess my attorney had said like some, strangulation is more of like a, I don't know, passionate type thing. I'm just like, I don't know how that can be passionate.
It's just intimate because you're right in there, using your own hands. It's a lot different than someone standing across the room and you shooting them or something like that. So
It just felt like somebody was like behind me, just like I just couldn't let go.
Again, saying it again, blaming it on, it felt like somebody else was behind me or somebody else was holding my hands. Like, again, subtly saying somebody else. And they don't step in and say, but it was you though. Like, you were the only one there, right, Chris? Like, I'm curious why you keep trying to emphasize like it was like somebody else was doing this or somebody else had control of you. And remember, when he talked about NK earlier, he mentioned her pulling him away on a leash. It's like he keeps saying that in so many ways, shape, or forms that he was controlled by something and somebody else. And obviously he's responsible for his own actions. And I believe he plotted this, but I think that it was plotted with more people. So it's just very frustrating that, it's just, we're supposed to just believe all these little hints and we's and they's, etc. are just, oh, he's just slipping up when he's talking, or we're just overanalyzing.
Interesting to me because there was a lot of things in your life that were like that, right? Where you're just like, maybe felt out of control or maybe felt like, I don't know why I couldn't take a step back or, like even when you said, when your buddy was like, let's go to the football game, you wanted to say yes, you just couldn't.
Yeah, I wanted to. Like, I haven't been to a football game since North Carolina, so I was just like, yeah, sure. Like, I wanted to say that.
Yeah.
I wanted to just text him, hey, babysitter fell through, can't. Let's go.
So, then what?
Just after Shanann was, I guess, when she was gone, it was just like I didn't know what was going on. It's like it was like a traumatic, I don't know what you call it, traumatic event type, and everything, and like I was shaking. I didn't know what had happened.
And couldn't that phrase almost be taken literal? I didn't know what happened. And I want to emphasize, I do believe Chris knows more. He plotted Shanann's death for sure. I'm not sold on the children's death. But, is it possible that he was outside and she was taken and he doesn't know what happened? I think it's possible.
I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I had done. I still wasn't in that right state of mind. I don't think like I was in control of what I could think or what I could do at that point in time.
Yeah, and Tony, I agree. When he says someone else or we, why didn't they ask him who it could have been he was talking about? Exactly. And just right now when he said another emphasizing on not being in control, it's like, why don't they say, like, just point that out? Like, why were you feeling like you had no control that morning?
Like most people say, like, why don't you just call 911? Why? It's like, unless you're in that situation, you don't know. You don't know what you would have done. Mm-hmm. It's easy to play Monday morning quarterback.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Like you said, if somebody shoots somebody, you don't know what they was going through their mind at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what you'd have done.
So what happened next?
Bella came in.
Is that what happened? Bella came in. What she said?
Oh, fine.
Did she hear something? Is that what she said?
Obviously, I think.
Okay. What'd you tell me?
Mommy don't feel good.
And then, did that happen with Bella right in that room?
Not in front of her.
What happened?
in as, she's talking about she was sleeping.
Mm-hmm. Did you take her back to her room?
Put Shanann in that sheet that you found on site.
Okay. And what?
Now, that very well could be the truth, because obviously the sheet was missing. The bed was stripped when the cops were there on Monday. So he says he wrapped Shanann in the sheet found at Survey. That, very well could be a little bit of truth. We already know that sheet was found there. If she's incapacitated or sedated, wrap her in the sheet. It didn't look like there was any bodily fluids on that sheet, which was separate from the coroner sheet. But so it leads me to believe that she was still alive when she left, but not able to walk.
Carried her downstairs, backed my truck up.
At that point, were the girls still there? Okay. So then Shanann's in the truck. Then went back to the house.
Got everybody back in the truck.
Was Bella first or was Cece first?
In the truck.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So Shanann was first, and then Bella was next. Was Bella...
So right there, that was just perfect because Chris was confused, asking him who was first to go in the truck. And he says, was Bella first or whatever? And he goes, oh, excuse me, sorry, Shanann was first. But it's like, he could have just rolled with it a little bit, because I believe that the kids did leave in the truck with Chris, but I don't believe that Shanann left in the truck. I think she left out back. So that was like almost a perfect opportunity to kind of, pry a little bit or catch him in a lie, like, who was first in the truck, and they're talking about the children. And then Coder's got to remind him, oh, wait, Shanann was first. I don't know. Do you guys understand what I'm saying?
Tennis shoes or something, right?
Shoes and, like,
Ew, I accidentally unmuted it or put it at Tammy's laughing. Her cackle.
And then, did that happen with Bella right in that room?
not in front of her.
What happened?
She walked in as, she's talking about she was sleeping.
Mm-hmm. Did you take her back to her room?
Put Shanann in that sheet that you found on site.
Okay. And what?
Carried her downstairs, backed my truck up.
At that point, were the girls still there? Okay. So then Shanann's in the truck. Then went back to the house.
Got everybody back in the truck.
Was Bella first or was Cece first?
Now, here's the thing. He said, brought Shanann down the stairs and loaded up my truck. He never said that he loaded Shanann in the truck. Do you understand? And I think, even though I just bashed Cato's book, there was something that sort of corroborated with something that was in that book. In the body cam footage, when the case first broke, there was an evidence marker by the back door. And in Cato's book, I believe he said that he laid Shanann by the back door. So if that's true, and that's why the evidence marker was there, maybe, you know, the dog hit there, or maybe something was of interest there for them to leave the evidence marker. Here he just said, I wrapped Shanann in the sheet, I carried her down the, or I brought her down the stairs, and I loaded my truck. He never once said he put Shanann in the truck. And then Coder, you know, speaks for him, you know, and tells him the order of things that were loaded. It's unbelievable. He literally is telling all of us, speaking for Chris. When Chris is saying what he did, he wrapped her in the sheet and brought her down the stairs. That very well could be what had happened.
And the truck.
And then, did that happen with Bella right in that room?
Not in front of her.
What happened?
She walked in as, you know, she's talking about she was sleeping.
Mm-hmm. Did you take her back to her room?
Put Shanann in that sheet that you found in sight.
Okay. And what?
Carried her downstairs, backed my truck up.
At that point, were the girls still there? Okay. So then Shanann's in the truck. Then.
So Shanann's in the truck. No, never said that. He just said he backed up his truck. So how could Shanann have been carried down the stairs? You know, we saw him back his truck up. Never once did we see anything get carried to the truck and then it was backed up. You know what I mean? So what was the order here? Coder's writing a new order because according to the DA said he backed his truck up and then he loaded them. But now Coder's rewriting it, speaking for Chris and saying, Chris is saying, I carried her down the stairs in the sheet and I backed my truck up. And now Coder's saying, so Shanann's in the truck. How? How did that happen? He's speaking for him and he's writing a new sequence.
Good. Back to the house.
You got everybody back in the truck.
Was Bella first or was Cece first?
In the truck.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So Shanann was first, and then Bella was next. Was Bella alive when you guys got in the truck? Oh, okay. What happened?
I woke back up.
Okay.
So Bella woke back up and it makes me wonder if, you know, maybe somebody had tried to put her back to bed because he said, obviously she woke up like, you know, a few minutes ago. So the kids waking up was a problem.
I don't really want to talk about this part, honestly.
Okay.
Those are my kids.
So now the kids are brought up, and I mean, in my opinion, he sounds choked up. And I don't want people to think you're a Watts sympathizer, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'm just telling you how I hear it. They start talking about the children, and I mean, I believe the kids weren't a part of his plan. I think other people added them in because they were witnesses, other reasons, collateral, etc. You know, so he's got to talk about the kids at some point in this conversation. And yeah.
Baby, I have to talk to him every night. Help us get on this.
Okay.
Every time I see pictures of him, I don't know how this could have happened. Being a dad was the best part of my life. I took it all away.
I think that's the hardest part for us, Chris, is we see those videos, we see that love that you had for your girls. Like, it's obvious to us, and even to us, it's hard for us to understand how a dad who's given piggyback rides and, you know, making snacks and watching princess movies and those kinds of things, how you get to that point, you
I
know?
don't know. It's just, like I said, it was just like something else was controlling me that day. I had no control over what I was.
Once again, he's said the word control over me. Control. I had no control. What would make somebody have no control? And again, remember, they found shell casings down the road from, we had a neighbor who called in the gunshot like an hour before Shanann got home. If somebody, and he just said something about a gun earlier, you never know until you're in that situation. You know, someone could get shot and you never know like how you'll handle it until you're in that situation, not verbatim. But you know, if somebody is standing in the garage with a gun facing at you and is saying, load the truck, do this, do that. And I'm just, you know, speaking hypothetically, just re-listening to this. This is my reaction. You know, it's like, what was going on? I mean, that gunshot that night was out of the norm. That's why the neighbor called it into the tip line. Yeah, the kids were at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Like to fight back.
Yeah.
Like when that prosecutor said it, a better tongue, like repeatedly, I just wanted to just bang my head up against the wall.
So you put Shanann in the truck and then you.
Why would he want to, you know, bash his head against the wall if he's the one that was the cause of Bella's injuries? And could he be lying and just playing up a sympathy? Yeah. We don't see a visual of this interview, sadly. We don't see, we hear him sniffling. Is he shedding tears? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on? Unfortunately, we don't know.
Put the two girls in the truck? Were they just sitting in their car seats? Or I guess they didn't probably have car seats in your truck, did they?
No, I was sitting in the back with like in that bench.
So Shanann was back there too?
She's on the floor.
What did they say about Shanann being on the floor?
Mommy, okay?
Now, when he says Shanann's on the floor, you know, Coder and Tammy have been the ones to place her in the truck. Chris has not said that he placed her in the truck. Coder said, so she's in the truck. And Chris never corrected him. But here he is saying she was on the floor. Floor of the kitchen? By the back door? You know, is he being, what level of honesty or what level of he's speaking literal are we supposed to take? You know, she was on the floor. Never said truck. But I don't know. It's just interesting.
What'd you tell him?
She'll be fine.
Did you have their stuff with them? Like their toys and their blankets and stuff?
They had something with them that they carried. One of them, I think Cece and Bella had like a blanket or something with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like a pink blanket or.
What about the dog? I think one of them had a dog, right? That talked or dog.
Yeah, one of them had like a little barking dog.
Was that with you too? Do you know?
I think it was. Try to. It's hard to remember. Like if they had like the big blanket, small blanket.
Yeah, Sugar Mama, I agree. She said they didn't want the truth, in my opinion. They were leading him, and he is easily led. 100%. And just remember, in NK's first interview with FBI, she says, if I called him and asked him to do something, he would do it. You know, so they've already, before they even got to this point, and obviously during the polygraph, they knew what they were working with, what kind of person and personality and all that he is. So yeah, it's just, this whole interview is it's Tammy's story. The prison interview is a story written by Agent Tammy.
So I think I saw on the video that you put a gas can or something in the back of your truck. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Did you have different plans when you put that in there?
I don't know what was going through my head. I felt like maybe I could just get rid of myself at the same.
CDT said, I think it's interesting. NK said he seemed disinterested in the apartment search on Saturday, August 11th. If he was so into NK and in love, why would he back away from the apartment search with her? Yeah, I agree. You know, we've talked, if anybody sees CDT's link in my description box and you want to dig even deeper into Watts conversations, we've gone so deep on her channel and she's got a Chris Watts playlist, but we have so much brainstorming and in our opinion, things that allude to Chris wanting to back out of what was going on with NK and the plan. And we kind of lay it out why we feel that way. So if you get a chance, and I totally agree with that, there were things that were clues and subtle clues throughout interviews that kind of allude to Chris could have been getting cold feet on the plan. And that's our opinion.
Same time, if I was doing all this, honestly.
Yeah.
You should think about that.
And again, these trucks were not ran on gasoline. You know, there was no reason for him to load a gas can. It's just some other circumstantial evidence, I guess, that we've used to kind of lay out an explosion theory. We don't know exactly how, but we heard Chris himself use the word trigger. Sorry if you can hear that airplane, but yeah, I mean, was there a detonator or something like that? We just don't know all the things, but the gas can, you know, is sort of one of the hints.
What'd you think about that?
I didn't feel like I deserved to live after what had happened.
And in most cases of family annihilators, the father really does, in a lot of cases, end his own life, I guess we'll say. So the fact that Chris is here saying he felt like he didn't deserve to live, for one, that's sort of a strange thing for a sociopath or psychopath to think. You would think that they would have been so elated with what had it just happened and been like on a rush and high from it. But here we could say Chris is lying about his feelings about it. But, you know, it's interesting, though, that they paint him as sort of the family annihilator type, but he kind of doesn't really fit it in the sense that he had these opportunities to kill himself if this happened Monday morning, like he says, and he didn't.
Was there any thought to the whole family going away that day, to include you?
After everything happened, that's a definite thought.
Yeah. See, it's interesting to me. We had all kind of wondered if there was a point when you were all together and if you were all going to pass together. That to me makes sense because that's, even though it sounds crazy, that's what a family man does, right?
Family man doesn't do what he did.
No, I know. I guess what I mean is.
And Coder is saying it would have made sense because, you know, that's what a family man does. In my opinion, I think Coder is saying that because he knows like what the stereotype of these types of profiles do. Like that's usually how these scenarios end. So I don't know.
It seems like you guys were going to be together forever in that way. Is that maybe what was going through your head?
Honestly, I just felt like I didn't deserve to live.
Yeah.
And it was like whatever judgment I was going to come upon myself, you know, I just didn't deserve to be on this earth anymore. Mm-hmm. What happened?
Okay.
So what made you not do that, do you think?
I don't know if it was just more of like a...
CDT is asking me to go back. Does he say, do I did or he did? Okay, hold on. Going back.
They carried. One of them, I think CC and Bella.
And then, did that happen with Bella right in that room?
Not in front of her. How this They carried. One of them, I think CC and Bella had like a blanket or something with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like a pink blanket or.
What about the dog? I think one of them had a dog, right? That talked or dog.
Yeah, one of them had like a little barking dog.
Was that with you too? Do you know?
I wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, I don't have weapons. Do what he did.
Oh, that was it right there. Sorry, guys.
I wasn't thinking.
Jesus. Jiminy Crickets. Sorry, hang on.
They carried. One of them, I think CC and Bella had like a blanket or something with them.
Mm-hmm.
Like a pink blanket or.
What about the dog? I think one of them had a dog, right? That talked or dog.
Yeah, one of them had like a little barking dog.
Was that with you too? Do you know?
I think it was. Try to. It's hard to remember. Like if they had like the big blanket, small blanket.
So, I think I saw on the video that you put a gas can or something in the back of your truck. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Did you have different plans when you put that in there?
I don't know what was going through my head. I feel like maybe I could just get rid of myself at the same time if I was doing all this, honestly.
Yeah.
Did you think about that?
What'd you think about that?
I didn't feel like I deserved to live after what had happened.
Was there any thought to the whole family going away that day, to include you?
After everything happened, that's a definite thought.
Yeah. See, it's interesting to me. We had all kind of wondered if there was a point when you were all together, and if you were all going to pass together. That to me makes sense, because that's, even though it sounds crazy, that's what a family man does, right?
Family man doesn't do what he did.
No, I know.
Family man doesn't do what he did. Yep. Why wouldn't he have said a family man doesn't do what I did? He said he. Everyone heard he, right? Debbie said, how does Tammy know they had a dog? Whoa. The dog stuffed animal. How would she know that? Did they find stuff? He. Everyone heard he. He freaking says he. So who's he? Does it rhyme with Slim? Remember he names Jim in this by name? If they did find those, Jen, they never disclosed with any of us that they found the toys. Chris said the toys blew away. Yes, Slim Jim, the beef sticks, of course, yeah. Chris said the toys blew away. He did. He also said that they were under the sheet at Survey when they asked him. He said the sheet, or what did he say blew away? The sheets, I don't remember. That was in the polygraph interview. they blew away. And he did say, yeah, Amanda, he said there would be toys under the sheet. And from what we saw, there were none. Perhaps it rhymes with joy. Personally, if I'm going just by vibes and feelings, I feel like the one that rhymes with slim, he doesn't have children that I know of. I don't know. I get more of that vibe from slim than joy. Rhymes with joy. Jen said Tammy has some explaining to do. Yeah, like where is this Dr. Dog toy stuffed animal? I'm telling you, there's stuff we don't know. And I'm also telling you guys, I've also considered that the blonde hair that was on the hatch, I'm considering that was planted there by CBI. And those are my feelings, but with everything else with this LE and that state, I can't help but wonder.
I guess what I mean is, it seems like you guys were going to be together forever in that way. Is that maybe what going through your head?
Honestly, I just felt like I didn't deserve to live.
Yeah.
And it was like, whatever judgment I was going to come upon myself, I just didn't deserve to be on this earth anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
Okay.
So what made you not do that, do you think?
I don't know if it was just more of like because with the site, maybe it was just more of like, I would have hurt more people than just me and everybody else. Like, I know there's other people out there, not like at the site, but other people like maybe out in the area. Like,
see how he kind of like fumbles there? Why didn't you want to blow it up? And he's saying, because there's other people out there. And then he's like, oh, in the area. Hold on. We can play that back. Listening to him fumble is funny. But yeah, it's like, are you telling us like that there really were other people? We're to believe that Chris did all this himself that morning before work.
do what he did.
Alone.
No, I know. I guess what I mean is, it seems like you guys were going to be together forever in that way. Is that maybe what going through your head?
Honestly, I just felt like I didn't deserve to live.
Yeah.
And it was like, whatever judgment I was going to come upon myself, I just didn't deserve to be on this earth anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
Okay.
So what made you not do that, do you think?
I don't know if it was just more of like because with the site, maybe it was just more of like, I would have hurt more people than just me and everybody else. Like, I know there's other people out there, not like at the site, but other people like maybe out in the area. Like, I didn't want something like on the site to catch fire and blow up, and then other people around would get hurt in the same.
So you were thinking initially about starting a fire out there or an explosion or something, or?
No, not for that. Just like maybe I could just take care.
And he just gets so like Kelly just said, like he's really fumbling here. I really think he's trying hard not to say things, but he wants to say it, but he's just holding back and he's fumbling, in my opinion. I feel like, why would they be asking him these questions if they didn't have some sort of notion of this, but they know also that he's not going to rat anybody out, because at this point in their conversation, It's been over an hour. They know that he's lying about things still and that he's not going to tell the whole truth. You know what I mean? So they know that they can kind of press these questions because it's kind of obvious in a way that there was some sort of explosion idea. I think it's obvious at least. But they just know he's just going to lie about it. So they're going to let him just lie and then they'll get past this topic quick.
Care of myself and not like that.
How?
I mean, gasoline, that's the only thing you do. I mean, I don't have a gun, I don't have anything like that. It's not like you just commit suicide that way. But
So just to blow yourself up?
I mean, it was just
Right. My heart to yours said not for what? Because he said, she's like, what were you thinking about making a fire, like some sort of explosion? He's like, not for that. For what? He's really fumbling, in my opinion.
I wasn't thinking. Yeah. I don't have weapons. I don't have.
Suddenly the conversation goes from, was there an explosion out there, to him, I wasn't thinking. I don't have weapons. And he's about to say, I don't own any guns. Why would you need weapons and guns? What do you use weapons and guns for, people? Protection, fighting off other opponents. If this is just Chris and his wife who's passed away already and helpless children he's about to, lives he's about to end, then why would you need weapons and guns at this point? Like, what is the point of him like throwing this out there? Like, he's pretty much saying that weapons and guns possibly were needed that morning for him, like protection or whatever, and he didn't have them, in my opinion.
I've never hunted before in my life. I don't know nothing was right that morning.
Yeah. I remember you kept telling me that. You kept saying, I didn't know what I was doing, Tammy. I didn't know. Like,
yeah, when you asked about a sheet, like, what were you doing? Like, I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Yes, Sugar's mama said he's distancing himself from the explosion discussion. And who picks up and plays along with Chris? Tammy. She's all about, okay, we don't have to go down this road. I remember that's what you were telling me that morning. You didn't know what was happening. You didn't know. She just feeds into that, like, oh, okay, yeah. Instead of pressing harder on, okay, so then what was that gas can for? Like, well, what do you mean you knew other people were around so you weren't going to end everything and blow yourself up? You know what I mean? She's all about, okay, he clearly didn't want to dig into that. You heard him fumbling. And she knows. So she's just going to let this conversation roll through. And then that's the end of it.
I think you were just like in automatic mode or.
And here we go. I mean, he's already said that he felt like he was in control, or he wasn't in control and he was being controlled by other things. And here she goes, yeah, you were in automatic mode. It's like, yeah, he already said that over and over, and you never pressed on what that exactly meant. But here she's like throwing him a lifeline, like, so that he'll say, yeah, exactly. And then the conversation goes to something else. Yeah, CDT, she's telling him how he felt.
It seemed like. So did you drive straight out there? So what were you thinking on the way out there?
It's kind of like what I'm doing right now. I'm just like, nervous, shaking, not knowing, like, what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, my life is completely changed. I don't know, like, what's happening. Like, honestly, like, I try to picture that whole ride. Like, it's like 45 minutes to an hour ride out there. And it's just like, couldn't I have, like, saved my girl's life? Couldn't I have done something?
So, if Shanann's in another area and the kids are with him and he's saying, couldn't I have saved my girls? It's just like, if he was in a rampage that morning and, it was just rage and he was, no control. Why would he be thinking, could I have saved my girl's life? Like, it's almost like something happened unforeseen and that was his chance driving there to save them, and so something at Survey took place. And I know everyone's going to say, yeah, that's where he killed them. But it's like, for him to be questioning, could I have saved them, makes me think there was something else that happened. And he's saying that was his chance.
Why did I do that? I don't know.
Right.
Like, this is my flesh and blood. This is like what I wanted all my life, was to be a dad, just to have, kids, and they loved me, all that, and it just nothing made sense.
Right.
Like the oil tank, nothing made sense. I'm just like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. So what happened when you got out there?
I took Shanann out just to a place off to the site.
Mm-hmm.
And then
What were the girls doing when you were doing that?
just sent them back to the truck.
And then what happened after that?
CC was first. She did have a blanket. She had a blue blanket. A Yankee blanket.
So was she alive when she went into the oil tank? No?
I put the blanket over her head.
And that's how she passed. Couldn't breathe.
I put the blanket over her head. I didn't want to. No. I strangled her right there in the back seat.
Okay.
What was Bella doing?
She's sitting right beside her.
Did she understand? Did she know what was going on?
She didn't say anything.
And then the same for Bella. Just without a blanket.
With the blanket.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look. It's like every time I closed my eyes, I just hear her saying, "Daddy, no," and that was it.
That's what Bella said.
I hear that every day.
You're like, I'm sorry, man.
Sorry doesn't take anything back that hit.
I know. Is it possible that in your mind you didn't want them to suffer throughout their life? Was this like a mercy thing?
I mean, you can say that like after the fact, but it was just like,
You didn't feel like that during it?
I just didn't. It felt like it was just like an anger with Shanann, with everything, that I was just taking it out on everybody that was in front of me that morning.
Yeah.
I mean, kids growing up without their parents, depending on what grandparents or whoever they grew up with, seemed to be fine. But it was just like, it was an anger thing. It was just like, I mean, she said after that she knew that was.
Well, so we have.
Oops. Okay, yeah, no, I was trying to pause it and then I lost our minute mark. Okay. CDT said, I feel like this could be true pertaining to multiple scenarios about what could have happened. Bella's saying, Daddy, no. I agree. Like, I think that in the instances where he wasn't present, possibly, or, other people were doing certain things, but he's not going to name them, he adds in things that kind of happened days ago or, in other times. For me, I almost felt like the Daddy no was possibly the FaceTime call I don't know. I'm not really sold. Maybe when they were handed off to other people, like the daddy knows, I'm sure something that, like he says, he replays it over and over. I think that really was a true event. I don't know. Yes, sugar mamas. Yes, she said, I think those words do haunt him. Agree. But I don't think it was how he's saying it here. So now I got to refine that minute mark. I'm sorry, guys.
You just didn't seem happy. Like,
oh gosh, now here we go. Just cut into Tammy speaking for him.
You just didn't seem.
Just circle back the truck.
And then what happened after that?
CC was first. She did have a blanket. She had a blue blanket. A Yankee blanket.
So was she alive when she went into the oil tank? No.
I put the blanket over her head.
By the way, they ask Chris more than once. I believe a total of 3 times, maybe in just multiple times they ask if they were alive when he put them in the tank. And in the polygraph interview, they ask him that as well. And he says no every single time. It troubles me, even though they don't say there was oil in their lungs. We don't have the full autopsy reports. It troubles me how many times they've asked him that.
And that's how she passed. Couldn't breathe.
I put the blanket over her. I didn't want to. No. I strangled her right there in the back seat.
Okay.
What was Bella doing?
She's sitting right beside her.
Did she understand? Did she know what was going on?
She didn't say anything.
And then the same for Bella. Just without a blanket.
With the blanket.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look. It's like every time I closed my eyes, I just hear her saying, "Daddy, no," and that was it.
That's what Bella said.
I hear that every day.
You're like, I'm sorry, man.
Sorry doesn't take anything back.
I know. Is it possible that in your mind you didn't want them to suffer throughout their life? Was this like a mercy thing?
I mean, you can say that like after the fact, but it was just like,
You didn't feel like that during it?
I just didn't. I felt like it was just like an anger with Shanann, with everything, that I was just taking it out on everybody that was in front of me that morning.
Yeah.
I mean, kids growing up without their parents, depending on what grandparents or whoever they grew up with, seemed to be fine. But it was just like, it was an anger thing. It was just like.
And what were you so angry at Shanann about? Like, if you could pinpoint it.
Nothing that makes anybody to want to do this. I mean, you could be angry at your spouse like your whole life, but you should never have done anything like this. You should never let it get to that point. But I let it get to a point where I've never been angry before. Like, and this was like the epitome of being angry.
Yeah.
The epitome of like showing a rage. The epitome of like losing your mind. I mean, even like some people in here said, they're like, "The heck happened? You must have freaking snapped." And like, I just walked away. Just like, it's I don't see it in my mind how it could, like, you know, I look outside every day, I'm like, what could we be doing right now? You know, right now I'd have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and more than likely a 1-month-old son. And a beautiful wife. And just like, right now it's just me.
I watched that video of you finding out that Shanann was pregnant. Don't seem excited. You seem like kind of in shock and yeah, like, oh fuck.
Here we go, Tammy telling him how he feels. And this, you know, even though it's clear he didn't look excited. And hi, David, thanks for being here. I hope you're resting. Even though it's clear he wasn't happy in that, and you might not think anything about Tammy saying, I saw the video, you don't look happy. It's like she's laying the groundwork and the narrative and the storyline once again, you know, and he's saying he felt scared. She's saying, you don't look happy. And he's like, what, like I looked scared. And, you know, he's, for some reason, I don't know, like, was he scared of what NK would think and say because they were already involved at that point? I mean, he ends up saying here that, you know, he might have been feeling guilty because of it.
Like, well, it's already complicated and now this.
Well, it's like, when we had talked about it, like a couple weeks, it happened fast, like, with Bella, it was like, we almost gave up trying. And then she bought me like a supercharger for my car. And then with Cece, it was like, we had to try. And then finally, but with Nico, it was, you know, once or twice. And then like 2 weeks later, she's pregnant.
Is that what happened?
Yes. I just like, it was more like surprise, scared. I'm like, wait, what? Like we just talked about this. Like, you know, people have brought up the fact like, oh, she's probably pregnant before, like you guys even talked about it. I'm just like, it's not, no. But like, yeah, it was.
Feel a lot of fidgeting is going on with everyone besides Chris. Do you guys hear that a bit? Soon as the paternity gets brought up of Nico, or just the topic of Nico here and the pregnancy, it just seemed like everyone got like real fidgety and Coder awkwardly laughing. I don't know. I overthink things and overanalyze, but it just sounded weird. Let me just rewind a little bit.
Of like showing a rage, it fitted me of like losing your mind. I mean, even like some people in here said, "Dude, like the heck happened? You must have freaking snapped." And like I just walked away. I'm just like, you know, it's I don't see it in my mind how it could, like, you know, I look outside every day. I'm like, what could we be doing right now? You know. Right now I'd have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and more than likely a 1-month-old son. And a beautiful wife. And just like, right now it's just me.
I watched that video of you finding out that Shanann was pregnant. Don't seem excited. You seem like kind of in shock and yeah, like, oh fuck. Like, well, it's already complicated and now this.
Well, it's like, when we had talked about it, like a couple weeks, it happened fast, like with Bella, it was like, we almost gave up trying. And then she bought me like a supercharger for my car. And then with Cece, it was like, we had to try. And then finally, but with Nico, it was, you know, once or twice. And then like 2 weeks later, she's pregnant.
Is that what happened?
Yes. I just like, it was more of like surprise, scared. I'm like, wait, what? Like we just talked about this. Like, you know, people have brought up the fact like, oh, she's probably pregnant before, like you guys even talked about it. I'm just like, it's not, no. But like, yeah, it was insanely fast. I give it that. Like, that's the only reason I ever gave that notion, like, even the moment of thought, because it was, like, faster than any other time that she'd gotten pregnant.
You just didn't seem happy. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I haven't, like, I don't remember the video much. I know she was wearing, like, a oops, we did it again shirt, I think, and I was walking out of my cooler or something.
mm-hmm.
I don't remember, like, my actual, like, reaction, like, watching the video, but, like, I could see her eyes. See, like, didn't seem like he was jumping for joy type thing.
Yeah, it didn't seem like that.
Did you watch the one of when I found out about Cece? Oh, okay.
Is it totally different?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Because Bella was in the crib and it had an eviction notice on the.
Oh, yeah, I think you told me about it. Yeah, I never saw it though.
Yeah, I picked that.
And notice here, Chris wants to talk about, you know, a special moment with him and the kids, which doesn't really fit into the whole brutal dad, you know, that ended their lives narrative. And he's like, wants to talk about, you know, the announcement of Cece and Bella's in the crib, blah, 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 eviction notice. And Tammy wants to cut him off. Like, she doesn't want him to have that come out because then it could appear like that it also isn't making sense. You know, he's sounding so attached to these girls and sharing memories. And that doesn't fit really the narrative that Tammy wants. So you hear her cut him off like, oh, yeah.
Bella and spun her around and whatnot. This time it was just me and Shanann, and she was in the kitchen. I don't know, like, I don't forget what date it was, maybe like June 3rd or 5th or 7th, I'm not sure like what date it was in the video, but maybe I already felt guilty about talking to Nikki at work.
Yeah.
Maybe that was going through my head.
Is that the potential timing? Does that make sense?
So through the discovery and just phone analysis, that video for the pregnancy was filmed in May, but then listed on Facebook. It was pretty much filmed a month before it was listed. So Chris said that he started things with NK, and NK said things started at different times, but none of them started in May. But here we have Chris saying that he felt guilty because of talking to NK during the filming of this video.
Okay.
I don't remember the video, what date the video was, but I knew like I kind of met Nikki around like June 1st. I knew like she told me like afterwards.
When you say met her, you mean like went on a date with her?
No, I didn't went on a date with her until she was in North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Just like flirting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there was natural flirting back and forth, and that was just like, I knew that, like, with that video time.
So here we are, you know, Coder's trying to lay out a timeline about NK and like this video and stuff, and here's Tammy just like flirting and stuff. Just let him tell what was going on at that point.
I mean, I probably just looked like I was like, felt guilty for even talking to my girl at work.
You probably did, right?
Yeah.
Did you guys fight before, you and Shanann? I know you talked about like not really raising your voice and stuff.
So we had the moment to kind of elaborate more on like NK, you know, Chris is bringing her up. And Tammy wants to go back to, did you guys like fight?
Was there, because I want to say, didn't a neighbor talk about them fighting and stuff?
Yeah, but that was embellished and exaggerated. And
It almost makes me think here that once the rumors came out about a fight or whatever, they needed like to discredit that notion, because I believe that could have been NK possibly. And now they're using, like, you know, they have like a checklist during this interview, you know, ask about the gas can, blah, blah, blah. Ask about the neighbor who said that he heard fighting. And then, it gives Baumhofer the no, that was, he retracted that statement and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, we never hear about that again because Nate retracted it. Doesn't make sense. That whole thing is weird. So people have speculated that Nate, when he said that he had heard arguing, that it was actually fine. It was actually NK and Chris, so for some reason that got retracted. And for some reason, Tammy's got to bring that up right now. And Baumhofer's got to, no, that was retracted. I don't know. It's just very scripted sounding there, in my opinion. It came out of nowhere.
Retracted that.
Oh, he ended up doing that? Did you guys ever fight? Did you ever?
And again, they knew that they were going to release this to the public.
Was there any domestic violence in your house? Like, this is strange to us to
Even
have.
from her to you, I mean,
Yeah.
she gets mad when she's pregnant and grabs a knife, or
No, like
scratches you or smacks you around, or nothing.
no, she'd never nothing.
Okay.
That's what makes all this even more hard to understand from my standpoint, and from yours too.
Exactly, Debbie. She said, why would he feel guilty if it was just flirting? He said that he felt guilty in that pregnancy announcement video because he was started talking to NK already, and Tammy butted in and said, what, like flirting and stuff? It's like, you could argue that you would feel guilty for flirting, but that it probably means much more than that.
Yeah.
Did she ever belittle you at all? Did you ever feel that way, maybe?
Was that?
Did she ever make you feel like she belittled you, or you felt belittled by her?
I mean, there's always points like in a marriage where the dominant person takes control of everything.
The way that Chris just hesitated a bit there when he was like, Baumhofer was like, did he ever belittle you? Or did she ever belittle you or anything like that? Like, usually if you feel like someone's belittled you, the instant you're asked that question, you would say, absolutely, or 100% yes. Like, you already know. But here, Chris has got to think about it, and it's like they're laying out the narrative that, things were hostile between them, blah, blah, blah. And Chris just had enough of it and wanted to start fresh. And Chris is saying, not really.
But I was my whole life, I just kind of went with the flow. I never put myself in the center of attention. I didn't want to be.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be in the back row.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if she did belittle me, I couldn't pick an exact point or time.
She never really felt that way.
He didn't feel belittled. He never even thought that there was a problem in his marriage until NK came around. And he straight up says that.
No, I mean, I always knew I was the introvert, and she was she took control of most situations. Like when people came over, I knew what my role was.
Yeah.
Like, I watch videos of like cooking, or she'd make like tower balls, or or protein balls, or whatever.
Yeah.
You just don't seem like you want to be in those videos.
No.
Like, I feel like you were being forced to be in those videos, and
I feel like you were being forced in those. We don't care how you're feeling, Tammy. Ask him. Let's hear it from Chris. She wants it to be painted a certain way, guys. Like, she wants, and do you hear her nagging about it too? I just feel like she's already said this is the third time that she has said that you don't look happy. You didn't look happy in those videos. All talking about the YouTube videos that Shanann posted. She in a way is belittle or is bad mouthing Shanann, in my opinion. Because she's insinuating that it was too much. She's unbelievable. Do you guys pick up what I'm putting down? This is the third time she's got to emphasize that he didn't look happy in this sort of lifestyle that Shanann had created with her MLM and just the way that she lived her life, on social media. And whether or not Chris liked it or not, he seemed to have been fine with it, but here we are, Tammy badgering him just like she badgered him about, did Shanann hurt them and you had to hurt Shanann. It's just, that's how she gets her story. We have like 2 false confessions from Chris, and they're actually both of them are Tammy's idea and story.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah,
that's what it seemed like to me.
I hated being.
Correct me if I'm wrong. That's what it seemed like to me. And of course he's going to say, yeah, I hated he's an introvert. People have speculated that he possibly has Asperger's. He's just strange, obviously. He's an enigma. There's a lot of just different descriptions that you could say for Chris. Again, I'm not saying I know exactly what his diagnosis is, but he's strange, But he also is very passive, and he'll agree. So when Tammy's saying all this, of course he's going to say, yeah, I hated being on camera. Like, yeah, no one really even likes it. And even Shanann had to get used to it and talked about how she had no confidence at first. And then over time, and you can watch it in her videos, she is good at, speaking on camera. Even for me, look at me, I have my camera off. I mean, I'm just like hanging out. So I'm more comfortable talking to you guys without the camera, but yeah, I'm not as introverted as Chris, and it's just, the way Tammy has laid things out.
I mean, I did it for her because it was for her business and stuff, but like it was, I hated just being out.
Yes, Vicky, I agree. She was having success on Thrive. Of course, she would ask him to be in videos. That's what couples do to help one another. And Chris looked like he had fun at these events. He was fine with doing what Shanann wanted, in my opinion, even though it made him uncomfortable. He even says it in this interview. When we're about to get to it, I think she says, couldn't you have just said you didn't want to? And he said, but that was how we made money. So to him, it was like uncomfortable, but he dealt with it. Yes, CDT said, chicks are crazy, man, as she blames the missing pregnant mother whose young daughters are also missing for harming her children. Yeah. And I know a lot of people will disagree, but this is my opinion on how this was all handled. And we're still not at the truth to this day. And this is my reaction 3 years later.
For everybody to see. That's why, like, the whole, like, the gender reveal thing, I was just like, I didn't want it to be like some live Facebook video. I'm just like, no. Yeah. But, like, I never wanted to be out there.
And that could very well be the truth because he didn't want NK to see it. So didn't it just sound very honest there? And they're like, yeah, like sympathizing and empathizing with him. He's like, I didn't want that, pregnancy video or whatever. Did he say the pregnancy announcement or the gender reveal? Because remember the gender reveal got canceled. But either way, it's, to me, it's, he didn't want NK to see it.
Yeah.
I know, I'm like,
Well, even when she was, because we talk about this a lot, Tammy and I and Dave, even when it was, I think it was Florida on some Lavelle or Thrive thing, and she's like, here we are, and it's all expenses paid, and
I was like,
I'm really looking at you and thinking, like, he is not into this video right now.
No, you didn't look into any of the videos, I'll be honest with you.
I wouldn't be either.
Yeah.
That's not me.
See, like, I don't agree with Coder there. Like, I think in the Thrive videos, he's, he's awkward, but he doesn't look unhappy to me. Like, in my opinion. I mean, there's a ton of pictures too. Like, he's smiling, like, and of course you don't know like what's behind the smile, and that's eerie to even think about in this case with Chris, but I just feel like they're trying to paint it as he was so unhappy with that, and I just don't think that that is 100% true. Like, I think it made him feel awkward, and it would make anyone feel awkward, and especially if you're introverted. But and again, we have Tammy really drilling in again that he wasn't happy, and she could tell.
You know, I knew what our goal was.
Yeah.
Like I watch videos of like cooking, you know, or she'd make like power balls or, you know, or like protein balls or whatever.
Yeah.
You just don't seem like you want to be in those videos.
No.
Like I feel like you were being forced to be in those videos, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what it seemed like to me.
I hated being in videos. I mean, I did it because for her, because
Right.
it was for her business and
Sure.
stuff, but like it was, you know, I hated just being out
Yeah.
for everybody to see. That's why like the whole like the gender reveal thing, I was just like, I didn't want it to be like some live Facebook video. I'm just like, no. Yeah. But like I never wanted to be out there.
Okay, so he did say the gender reveal. So definitely at that point, and this is information that he's offering to them. They didn't ask about the gender reveal. And the gender reveal was at the end of summer, is in August. And yeah, definitely at that point, you know, he probably wants to he's trying to play all sides at that point. He doesn't want Shanann to find out about NK or whatever plan is in place. He doesn't want NK to find out that these other things are taking place in his life, and he might not be as detached as she wants him to be. Like, and CDT brought up earlier, she said that he wasn't interested in looking at apartments the Saturday before everything. So why was he, you know, pulling back and trying to hide things? And, you know, there's so many things going on that I just feel like him being the way he is, and, you know, Tammy knows exactly how he is. He just will avoid conflict to a point where it literally explodes in his face.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
Well, even when she was, because we talk about this a lot, Tammy and I and Dave, even when it was, you know, I think it was Florida on some Lavelle or Thrive thing, and she's like, here we are, and it's all expenses paid, and
I was like,
I remember looking at you and thinking, like, he is not into this video right now.
No, you don't look into any of the videos, I'll be honest with you.
I wouldn't be either.
Yeah.
That's not me.
yeah, I don't know.
So Coder is talking about the Lavelle photos specifically, and Tammy's got to emphasize any of the photos. I don't think you look good or happy in any of the photos. Thank you, Mar R. ATS News, not in chat today, but still listening to you always. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm glad that you're here, even if you're not able to chat with us. That's comforting. And thanks everyone who has joined tonight. I really appreciate everybody here. Craig B said he didn't want to be on video for the whole world to see. He's an introvert. Yeah, he is. And he's got NK and whatever influences whatever in his life at that point. And I think he was trying to appease them as well.
I mean, I remember you talking about, like, she would even post stuff for you. Like, because you're technically a salesman, too, of Lavelle, of Thrive.
It's like she put me underneath her, and that, like, anything, like, any of my friends or stuff, like, anything I do would help her.
Right.
So it was just, you know, I would send her pictures. Like I said, take a picture with your patch. I'm like, okay, send it to her, and then she'd make a post about it.
I agree, CDT, yet Baumhofer said something like, oh, I agree, I'm the same way, you know, trying to relate to Chris there. And she said, Baumhofer commented there, but he's so quiet overall during this interview. Why do you think that is? I totally agree with you, but why do you guys think that is? Like, was it pre-planned between the three of them? Like, okay, we gotta make things look, you know, good as far as able to explain how things went down, because obviously it doesn't make sense what they fed the public. But why, like, I think that Baumhover, I don't know, I think he carries a big weight. I can't get into all of my thoughts there tonight, but I often wonder, you know, a lot about what goes on, like, in his investigation on this and his notes, and I just feel like he was outranked by other people, and perhaps that's why he's kind of taken a side to all this, and only saying certain things, because CBI and FBI are the ones that really need to kind of explain themselves, possibly.
Eventually, she was like, "I need to take more control over like your business and stuff." I'm just like, I don't know what to talk about.
Right.
Like if I wanted to talk to somebody at the mall or at the pool or somebody about this, I just stumble all over my words and just like they'd be like, "Okay, bye." But no.
Yeah.
I'm not a salesman. I mean, she could sell everything you're wearing back to you.
Right.
And you wouldn't even know it. Like, what did you pay?
Right.
For a shirt? I paid $20 for it? Yeah, those videos were not me. I did it just to support her. You know, like, she would always say, "Oh,
Could you tell her no? Could you say, I don't want to be in that video? Or was that an option?
Probably not an option. I mean, it's like, you know, she would have been like, "Oh, why? This is to, you know, help our family. This is for, you know, to help this and that." You know, so I couldn't have told her no. I mean, it would have made her mad. I would have been like, no. I wouldn't want to start that. It's because it's for the business. It's for the family. You know, I was just going to try to help out wherever I can.
Right.
Did that actually make money?
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know, guys. I just feel like we've heard him say him and Shanann didn't fight. We've heard him say they had a healthy sex life. We've heard him say, even though he didn't like being in those videos, he did them because it was for the family and it was, you know, to make money. It just goes along with also him saying that he never would have cheated if, you know, it wasn't for NK, in so many words. So it's just interesting that, oh, bye, Jen Lavelle. See you around. It's just interesting that it really just seems more and more like even NK admitting that she pursued Chris, you know, it's just like, I don't believe that he ever cheated with anybody else, like before NK.
not only just more sales, but it actually put money in your guys' pocket.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And she made probably in that last year, probably as much as I did.
On commissions, basically? I mean, I know that's a simplified version of it, but...
Yep, I mean, it's, they don't take taxes out on it, so...
Right.
So that was, like, the good thing, and they paid for your car.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Did they give you her an allowance or something to buy a car?
Yeah, well, if you're a certain level, like a 12K or above, they give you a car allowance once a month. I'm not sure how they made money. The owners doing that, but they did.
Yeah.
Unless there's just like an insane markup on the product, which I probably guess there is.
Probably is, yeah.
I'm not sure how much it costs for them to make it.
Yeah.
Did you feel like a different person wearing those patches?
Especially like the Duo, the Burn. I mean, like the Apple Watches. Like if you look on it, like when it tells you to exercise, it says I was exercising like all day. Because my heart rate was like up.
Oh.
Just from those patches.
Was it full of caffeine or what?
They just have something. They had something in them. I mean, the black label ones, the longer black ones, those had caffeine.
Yeah, CDT. I feel like this was an avenue that when I started the case, she said now she's asking if it felt weird wearing different patches or if it felt different wearing the patches. It's just the whole patches theory and how it could have changed him. I think it was a good kind of concept to comb through when you start this case. But yeah, Sarah, I agree. She said Tammy is feeding him excuses, in my opinion. I agree. And you know what it makes me wonder, Sarah, in CDT, you know, it's like was this sort of planted in here as like another script note? Bring up the patches and this and that, because there was a case of a father that you know did a similar act, and he was on some diet pills that was like an amphetamine. So obviously Tammy would have known about that. It was a huge case. I can't even think of the name of it. Jeffrey McDonald's or something. But anyways, okay, CDT. She said, Amber, I have an idea. I'm going to message to you. Okay. It makes me wonder if Tammy put this Thrive patch idea in this interview because she knew once people started talking about this case, that would be a huge distraction. Yes, I think Jeffrey McDonald. Thank you, CDT. She knew that theory would be a huge distraction and waste up a lot of people's time, like myself, and other people who follow this case, because it is sort of an avenue to go down. Like, was it because of Thrive or whatever, And it's just a waste of research, in my opinion. That wasn't the catalyst in this. And I believe they know that. And for them to insert that stupid question in this, it's stupid. Yes, Jen. She said she wants people to sympathize with Chris too. Exactly, because so many people have said, oh, he was belittled. I mean, why else would they ask that in a way, They've like aligned some sort of footnotes in this whole interview because they knew that the conversation would lead a certain direction. Like same with Nutgate. They bring up Nutgate, and obviously that kind of paints the idea of like, oh wow, his own family didn't even like her. So of course but we know that it has more to do with other people involved. So, in my opinion.
But it never had that effect. I mean, the duo of earned ones, the ones that are more.
I meant to read that, Tony. Tammy plants ideas in Chris's head by what she says to him. Exactly. And Jen said she wants people to sympathize with Chris. She wants his pants. What she wants in his pants is what she wants. That's been theorized a lot. That's all I'm going to say.
Like the fat loss type, it felt like I was working out all day, even though I wasn't.
Oh, were you tired?
I mean, I know at some points, even Nikki said that, I'd fall asleep on the couch, on her couch while I was talking to her, and then pick back up I never knew I fell asleep.
See, I feel like that little aspect is important because Tammy's over here bringing up stupid Thrive, and he's talking about passing out on the couch and did he bring up NK again? He's willingly giving this information. Hold on, let me just rewind a little bit. Bear with me. But what do you guys think about what I just said while I'm rewinding?
Which I don't know if it's like something inside. I'm not sure how they made money. The owners doing that, but they did.
Yeah.
Unless there's just like an insane markup on the product, which I probably guess there is.
Probably is, yeah.
I'm not sure how much it costs for them to make it.
Yeah.
Did you feel like a different person wearing those patches?
Especially like the duo, the burn. Like the Apple Watches. Like if you look on it, like when it tells you you're exercising, it says I was exercising like all day because my heart rate was like up.
Oh.
Just from those patches.
Was it full of caffeine or what?
They just have something. They had something in them. I mean, the black label ones, the longer black ones, those had caffeine in them, but it never had that effect. I mean, the duo burn ones, the ones that are more of like the fat loss type, it felt like I was working out all day, even though I wasn't.
Oh, were you tired?
I mean, I know at some points, even Nikki said that, I'd fall asleep on the couch, on her couch while I was talking to her, and then like pick back up like I never knew.
So yeah, once again, he brings up NK. What do you guys make of this? He was falling asleep on the couch and then waking up type stuff. You know, people have theorized drug use. I don't know. Yeah, I agree, CDT. I think NK did bring that up as well.
I fell asleep, which I don't know if it was like an insomnia thing or what. But like I wasn't sleeping much.
We had a lot going on then.
So here's Chris trying to bring something up about NK and Tammy. You had a lot going on then. Oh, so that's why?
Yeah, that was the only patches I really felt like a real big difference on, just because it felt like I was working out all day.
Mm-hmm. You don't feel like they changed your...
Yes, Craig. Tammy steers him away from talking about NK again. Unbelievable. I agree, Tony. She said, I think he was on drugs or drugged.
Your personality or anything like that, though? Or do you?
I don't really know. I know I just felt different on those than any other batch. I felt like I could just go longer and longer each day. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure like if that was probably a bad thing, because I don't think I was probably sleeping more than 3 hours a night.
So would you stay when Shan was gone? Would you stay with Nikki and then go home for to get ready?
Yeah, I just wake up at like 4:30 and go home and get ready for work and leave. And I just work out when I got back home.
Mm-hmm.
What were the conversations with Nikki as far as at some point you guys were talking about her helping you find an apartment? So what did you guys talk about as far as your future together?
That didn't really happen. So like I got back from the beach. So I told her I lied to her like, hey, I had talked to Shan about getting the separation.
And that talk hadn't happened yet.
No, I mean it kind of like. She knew something was going on. And things. I mean, we weren't sleeping in the same room, and then she even mentioned the fact like, hey, Colorado's 50-50 state or something like that. And I was like, okay, well, I guess she looked it up. But that actual talk hadn't actually happened. I was just like, I thought it was going to happen.
Yeah. And so in conversations with Nikki, I get it. I mean, you're telling her like the progress toward the divorce is a little bit more than it was. Mm-hmm. And then so what were you guys planning?
So it was more of like she's going to help me find an apartment that was affordable. That's kind of just around like Brighton or maybe just close to work, like for Lupton or something around there. That's kind of like where my area was. Mm-hmm.
Did you talk about moving in with her?
She didn't want that.
She didn't want that? Would you have done that if she would have been cool with that?
So Chris is about to say it would have been too soon for him to have moved in with her. And this is what, re-listening to this all doesn't make sense to me, because he's in the midst of a separation, divorce. That's why they're looking at this apartment. And NK offers this information up too. She was trying to be helpful and find him an apartment for him and his girls. But it's like, in my opinion, if you know that this guy's got like this much going on in his life, but he's willing to kind of change it for many reasons, and, maybe her being one of the reasons, and they were, like she was looking up wedding dresses or whatever. It just seems like, why wouldn't she just in my opinion, she was looking for an apartment for him and his girls. That's the truth. And he says that it would have been too much for him to move in with her and too soon, in my opinion, because the kids were not a part of the plan. And they really were looking for a place for Chris and the girls to live at. because it would have been too much for him and the girls to move in with her. But I don't know if this is all making sense, guys.
I've been a little too soon. I would have thought there was just, we only been really seeing each other like almost like a month, or they just talking about 2 months. That would have been really. She called her house, like her apartment, like her, I don't know, like her kind of like a shield, or kind of like her. She had another word for it, but
Like her safe place?
yeah, like a safe place or something like that. And she's like, people like to invade it, but.
No, I think he was trying to say she called it her sanctuary. And everyone kind of wonders, when this case first broke, why she had properties and houses in her name, just from people, software stuff pull up when you pull up people's names and stuff. So everyone's kind of questioned why she had that apartment to begin with. And here Tammy's speaking for him, calling it a safe place, when I think it is sort of like that, but it's like a sanctuary or something, I guess that is a safe place, but it's just very questionable why NK had that apartment when allegedly she had all these other properties also.
That's why she always let me come over, because she said she felt like I was fine, like her dog liked me and everything. Like she would say, hey, you just should belong here type thing. Okay.
So you and Shannon, did you talk about selling the house? Or what point did you? There was some discussion there with Ann Meadows.
She had sent an email to Ann about like how we would go about like selling the house.
Yeah.
And I think Ann told her about Ann was always about getting pre-approved. Just like like if you're going to sell your house, get pre-approved for like another house, so it's like much faster.
Yeah, so you just quickly transitioned from one to the other. Okay. When did that happen? Remember?
I think it was either right before we left. No, that had to have been like first week of August, somewhere around there. I think she may have contacted her.
Okay. So the plan was maybe to buy a house. I think you told me in Brighton, you think about buying a house in Brighton.
Yeah, just like she liked that Adams 12 school system or something.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I think that's what Brighton is. Adams.
Yeah.
What were you thinking about when you called the school that day, on Monday?
I was freaking out. I didn't know, like I was thinking in my head, like what I just did, what I just done, and I didn't know, like it was stupid to do anything. To call the school, to call Ann, to call any.
See, when Tammy asked him about that, I think in the polygraph interview, correct me if I'm wrong, he said he wanted to know if they were there or something. I'm pretty sure he says in the polygraph to Tammy that he asked to see if they were there. So I can't remember where that came out.
I mean, they were right to be, suspicious about anything. Because I knew I probably sounded eccentric on the phone and out of sorts. And just, I don't even know what they were thinking. They heard me.
I think they thought it was weird, but I don't know how you would not sound weird, like you said.
So, are you 100% sure the girls were still around and alive?
And they don't elaborate more on what he really said when he called. It's in the polygraph interview and in the discovery because they have the notes. And I'm like pretty sure he called and asked where they were. Tammy knows that and knows he's answering it a different way now.
When you drove out. Okay. So that's completely accurate. There's nothing else about that.
They got in the truck.
Okay.
Where did the blanket go?
It's probably in the trash can or something, I think.
In the trash?
It wasn't it was still in my truck.
Okay. Well, we thought we saw some GPS where you had stopped by.
Why did he just say trash and then it was still in his truck? So where was it? Where did they go? I'll probably never be able to. Hold on.
The trash?
It wasn't like, it was still in my truck.
Tammy answered for him. In the trash.
Somewhere around there. I think she may have contacted her.
Okay. So the plan was maybe to buy a house. I think you told me in Brighton, you think about buying a house in Brighton.
Yeah, just like, she liked that Adams 12 school system or something.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I think that's what Brighton is.
Yeah.
What were you thinking about when you called the school that day on Monday?
I was freaking out. I didn't know, like I was thinking in my head, like, what I just did, what I just done, and I didn't know, like, it was stupid to do anything. To call the school, to call Ann, to call anybody. I mean, they were right to be, suspicious about anything. Like, 'cause I knew I probably sounded eccentric on the phone and out of sorts. And just, I don't even know what they were thinking. They heard me.
I think they thought it was weird, but I don't know how you would not sound weird, like you said. So
Yes, Jen, I agree. It's like Chris doesn't know how to wipe his own beep until Tammy tells him. I love that way of saying it. BLN asked, do you think he called a school? Yeah, I do. I think somebody had the kids at that point, and because when he called, he asked if they were there. He said, they're not there, are they? That's just my opinion.
So, are you 100% sure the girls were still around and alive when you drove out? Okay. So that's completely accurate. There's nothing else about that.
They got in the truck.
Okay.
where did the blanket go?
It's probably in the trash can or something, I think.
In the trash?
It wasn't like, it was still.
Probably in the trash can or something, I think. And then she says, in the trash.
In my truck.
Okay. We thought we saw some GPS where you would stop by near construction roll-off dumpster. Is that true, or?
I think that's like, I dumped my clothes in there.
So that would have been on the way back to the house?
My neighborhood.
Yeah. When Officer Kunab was there? Okay. Was it one of those red construction dumpsters?
More than likely.
Okay.
Did you pack new clothes? How did that work?
I already have some in there, because, like, in case we have, like, a spill or something.
Oh.
If you ever get crude oil on you, you don't. Yeah,
I think that's a good time to stop. I like keeping these around 2 hours. And this part I kind of want to elaborate more on, but we'll have to do that next time. Part 4. But let me just talk to Chad a little bit while we close up. And thank you, everyone, for being here. Yeah, Jen, you can find the written part online. If you want everything, you have to email Weld County and they'll send you the files. So him stopping at the trash cans, I think it was more than just dumping things in the trash, in my opinion. And those were the areas where they found the bullets, shells, and that cylinder of the revolver, and the direction of where the neighbor heard the gunshot the night prior. And it's very, secluded and nobody, desolate, I guess is the word. No one's around. I wonder, was he meeting somebody there? Was he looking for something to be there? You know, there's a reason why he stopped at that trash area construction site on his way home. It must have been very urgent, and I think it's more than just he dumped his clothes. That's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Tony said, I think he met someone by the trash bins. You too, Craig. Have a good night. Thanks for being here, Beverly and Muck Boys and everyone. Um, I really appreciate everyone being here and combing through this case again. But yeah, Jen Lavelle she said, I don't know anything about that yet. On his way back from like Serby, when he was told by Nicole Atkinson, like, I'm at your house, I'm calling the cops, I can't get a hold of Shanann, get your butt home, in so many words. He stopped at these dumpsters. Debbie said, why did he want to get rid of his clothes? Right. And why wouldn't he have done it before he got to the neighborhood? He had over 45 minutes to get, home, because he took longer than everyone kind of was anticipating, it seemed. So it's interesting. This whole case is just interesting in a lot of elements. So thank you everyone for being here again. I really appreciate everyone's. Oh, you're good, CDT. She said my phone died, but I'm back. You're good. I think I am done. Yeah, maybe he grabbed Shanann's phone and watched from someone, or her car keys. Right. Of course, Missy. I appreciate you. Bye, EJ. The next one, Beverly, I'm not sure when it'll be, part 4. I'll give you guys like an update on my community page here on YouTube. And then also, if you're in my Facebook group called Chris Watts Did Not Act Alone, We Want Answers, I give updates there as well. So that's pretty much it. And I'll let you know when part 4 is. So until then, keep checking back with the community page and all that. And I'll see you guys soon.